Hello, Sarah.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is the Being Your Own CEO Success Circle. And this morning we're going to be talking all about Google tools. So we like to give everyone a chance to introduce themselves. So let me see. Let's see who I can pick on this morning. Who was here first? Vivek, do you want to introduce yourself? Oh, I thought it was Vivek. Too bad.
Namaste. My name is Vivekanand. I am proud to share my belief with Steve Jobs and Leonardo da Vinci, who said simplicity is the ultimate in sophistication. I aim to bring time tested wisdom and happiness together into your business and life by unifying, simplifying, and amplifying simple technology and tools. Wake Technology is my company. Together, let us wake up our potential.
Cool.
So, yeah, I am in England, UK, United Kingdom. The weather has become gone back to winter, I suppose. It's supposed to go to minus 2 degrees tonight. So
Ooh,
I don't know what's going on, but yeah.
boy. Well, it is spring here in Victoria, sort of.
Mhm.
But yesterday on our walk, your note said on the little video clip I sent you that you thought it was probably cool. But I was having to unzip my jacket, etc., before I got
Oh.
home. Yeah, so right on. So welcome here. And David, go for it.
Hey, I'm Dave Flannery with Affordable Websites for Small Businesses. I'm hailing from Rock Falls, Illinois. Today, we're supposed to get a high of, what is it in Celsius? 26 degrees, 27 degrees, which is really warm for this time of year.
Mm-hmm.
It's 80 degrees Fahrenheit for us Americans. So, well, I'm the only one here that's American or United States. So, um,
Mm.
now I'm the only one that used Fahrenheit. So anyway, uh, we are broadcasting through YouTube and the website with no problems at all.
Right on. Thank you, David. Sarah.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. I'm Sarah Davio from Piece of Cake Communications in Victoria, BC. My business, sorry, just waking up. I show people how to become confident and effective communicators, workshops, private training. Excited to be reopening in some way with new workshops coming out. A new booking coming out at the end of May for public speaking skills for both online and in person. And I'm excited about the vaccine coming. I'm excited about life returning to some sense of normalcy and being able to predict a few things in the future. That will be really nice if it happens, which I trust it will. So thank you, LowellAnn, for hosting today and inviting me again.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you, Sarah. Well, I will go with with Paul. He's right next to Sarah in the video. So,
So my company is TTG International Management, and all business start as an idea, and the journey to turn that idea into profitable actions. Just think of us as your Sherpa along the way. That's what we do.
all right, on your Sherpa. Huh? Oh dear. So I see that Alana is just popping in here as well. So I'm glad you made it, Paul. And Javita, how would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello everyone, I'm Jivita from Mumbai, India. I'm a Reiki Master teacher and I also like to help people to start their own online business. And I'm really happy to be a part of this group. And thank you, LowellAnn, for inviting me.
It's a pleasure to have you. What's the temperature in Mumbai?
Oh, in Mumbai, it's quite hot because it's 30 degrees Celsius, around 30, 35.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is hot. Well, welcome here, Javita. And Fred.
Thank you, LowellAnn. I'm Fred Johns, the creator of Our Future Leaders, where we assist young people to gain those communication and leadership skills that Sarah's teaching some of the adults. We try and teach some of the young people. I'm located currently on my friend's boat still, hiding away from COVID-19. I did get my first injection on Friday, so I'm happy about that. And I'm in Ladysmith, which is about 90 kilometers north of where Paul and Sarah and LowellAnn are on Vancouver Island. It's about 4 degrees centigrade, going up to about 12 today is what they predict. So looking forward to hearing more about Google Docs and Google Tools and Google everything.
Good. Welcome here, Fred. Alana, how are you doing?
Greetings, everyone. Alana here, coming to you from the beautiful sunny Ireland at the moment, subject to change with snow and weird weather on the way. My company is ALB Digital Marketing Solutions, and I write copy for small businesses.
Oh, good. And I hope your phone call last week was of a pleasant nature, not a bad nature.
No, it was. See what? Why did he call me? Okay, yeah, now I remember. So it was partly a good call and partly okay, you need to know this call. So I'm glad I took it, and yeah. So that call actually turned into a 2-hour phone call. So yeah, it was a long call. So like I said, part of it was like you need to know what's going on here, and the other part was, so what's going on in your life phone call. So yeah, it was nice to catch up with him. And we have since started. It's funny that we're going to be talking about Google today, because I was just turned on to an app called Google Duo. So I'll just put that out there, and I'll just drop it right there.
Okay. All right. And I'm glad you're here this morning, Alana. And so I forgot to introduce myself, and as I was thinking about that, I thought that what I would do is change my virtual background. So I've been playing around with creating websites and courses, etc. And so, as you can see, both Vivek and I, we've been collaboratively working on some online courses, and then we had to create a website in order to host it. So I'm noticing, Javita, you're saying you're not getting any sound, I think. Is anybody else having that problem? No? Okay, so turn your sound on somewhere. Right on. So now this morning we're going to talk about Google Tools. And before we start, I want to invite everyone to please interrupt and ask questions as we go, because we are doing it as a presentation, but it was more to keep ourselves on track and to be able to show a few things. So we certainly want it to be as conversational as possible. So, and we did say beforehand, if you got a question, speak up or raise your hand electronically in Zoom here. Oh,
It's particularly relevant for those who are scared of the technology.
yeah, that's right. So, Vivek.
We'll push all your buttons.
Yes. So Vivek is going to share a screen for us. And then we can go from there. There we go. Here we go. So now, what I wanted to say right off the bat is at some stage of the game, I think it might have even been Alana who said she would like to know more about what's new in Google. But as we discussed what's new, we began to realize that there are many old things about Google that a lot of solopreneurs may not know. So we're going to cover not everything there is to know about all of the tools, but especially the things that we particularly like and we thought were most useful to solopreneurs. So let's go to the next screen. So usually we like to begin with the question why, and in this case it's why do we love Google tools? And as you can see on the screen, there are several things that we particularly like about them. One of them is that you can embed them all on your website as you want and need to. And you can, if you've got a document or a slide or a spreadsheet or whatever, you can share them with clients and colleagues without having to send an email with an attachment, etc. You can work together with other people, maybe other members of a team or with clients or whatever. More than one person can work on an item. Let's say it's a document. You can work simultaneously so that, again, you don't need to be sending copies of this and that back and forth. It saves a lot of time and energy. And I suppose one of the more important or useful items is that you can access anything that's in your Google account in the cloud from any device. And I can give you an example. I do some work at a care center, and sometimes I need to save something from the care center to myself, or the other way around. I need to bring something that I know I've got stored somewhere into whatever it is that I'm doing. And all I have to do is open a browser and log into my Google account, and everything is there. So it makes it really, really convenient. So now that we've said, and these are the main reasons, there are certainly other things that we're going to bring up as we go along, but Vivek is going to play the cutest little video that I've seen for a long time. So go for it, Vivek. I think you're going to click on the link, and we're going to see a video. Don't forget to turn the sound on, Vivek.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I am doing. Um, okay.
Good morning, Paul.
Good morning, Brian.
Good morning, Brian and Paul.
Good morning, Sally.
Good morning, Sally.
Just managed to send an email with a proposal document as an attachment. File is big and it took a while to send it. Sent it to both of you as well as Bridget and Nina.
Who is Nina?
Oh, Nina is the CEO of our new client. We all need to collaborate on this document.
No problem. I will edit it and email it back to you.
I'll send you mine, probably by middle of this week.
Hope Nina gets to read it in time. After a week we've had some progress. We now have third version of document. Merging all changes twice has been hard work, but I haven't heard anything at all from Nina.
Oh. Bridget found out Nina went on holiday when she wanted some input from Nina.
Maybe I should check my emails once again. Paul and Sally, I really don't know what to do now. Nina has just sent a reply with an edited version. But looks like she edited the first version I sent. What do I do now? Tell her our third version has lot more changes she has not yet seen? I don't think she would be happy.
Hello everyone, good to see you all. Can I be of help here?
Hello, Sabina.
Hello, Sabina.
Hello, Sabina.
How are things in sales?
It has been fantastic since our move to Google Apps for Business.
Brian has a problem. He has been trying to collaborate with myself, Sally, Bridget and Nina, a client. On a proposal document, Brian had lots of trouble merging changes from all of us.
Yeah, I overheard some of your conversation as I came in. But why are you still sending documents as email attachments? That was the old way when we used Outlook. Now, I create document on Google Docs and email the link.
But how to give Nina access to the document? She is a client and not an employee of our company.
Very simple. After you create your Google Doc, click on Share button, enter Nina's email ID. System will warn you that Nina is an external person. Nina would be able to open the document after logging in using her email ID.
I have used Dropbox for personal use before, but I was told that it was not secure. Hopefully Google Apps is secure.
You are correct. Google Apps uses SSL security for all communications. So for now, Brian may have to somehow convince Nina. I'll have a word with her too, if that helps. But from now on, to save our time, effort and energy, we all should change the way we collaborate.
Yes, indeed. I would no longer need to do painful multiple file merges.
Oh, I think that's so cute. So if you could go to, oh, here comes somebody. I don't know who it was. So, can you go back to the screen share?
Yeah.
And by the way, does anybody have any comments about the little video? David.
I liked how they slammed Dropbox. That little bitty hint there that maybe it's not secure. Don't use Dropbox.
I'm trying to let Jay in, but I can't. Oh, there it is. There. I've got so many things open. There is Jay. All right. So now that we've got we've talked about one of the main reasons why we like Google Tools, we thought it would make sense to look at what is the difference between Gmail and Workspace, because it seemed to us as we were discussing it that there are some significant differences, as you can see by the screen. So whereas Gmail is free, the Workspace, and by the way, Workspace used to be called G Suite, it's now called Workspace. So it is less than $10 a month. Actually, I think it's about $7 from where I sit. Then there are two different things, and you can see those are highlighted in red: terms of use and the service level agreement. And it's probably the most important difference, where the terms of use means that you are agreeing to Google's terms. And that means that they can use your content to determine what they market to you. So that is what goes on when you are using a free Gmail account. Whereas a service level agreement is a two-way agreement between two entities, and they agree or guarantee that your privacy. They guarantee your privacy in exchange for the fee that you pay them. They give up their right to scan your information and instead agree to provide a specific level of service. So that is a main difference between Gmail and Google Workspace. So what else can you do? Well, in the Gmail, you have to use the Gmail brand. So your email address would be my Gmail address is CoachLann@gmail.com. Whereas in the Workspace, I get to use my own brand. So one of my email addresses is coach@LowellAnn.com. Yet it is still part of the Google product place. There's a difference in the amount of space, storage space you have: 15 gigs in Gmail and 30 gigs in Workspace. And by the way, of course, if you use more than 30 gigs, they allow you to pay for more. Then in both cases, you get to use all of the tools, and we're going to talk a little bit more about some of those tools shortly. And another significant difference I found was, yes, in Gmail there are some public templates that you can make use of. However, in Workspace, you can use those public templates, but you can also create your own and make use of them as a template. And in both platforms, you have access to Meet and Chat. Now, Alana, you said something about Duo, and I've kind of forgotten what Duo is. Do you want to say something about that right now?
Sure. Duo was one of the things that my brother wanted to talk to me about last week. Is that I was trying to get away from Skype. I've been trying to dump them for a while, and I'm finally doing it. So his answer is Duo. He installed it on his phone, and he asked me to do the same. And then we ran some tests, and the sound quality is pretty good. It's kind of like WhatsApp. It's not very fancy. The messaging isn't that great. It comes in little black boxes, and it's incredibly simplistic, but it does the job. Like, my brother's older than I am, and it's not very, he's okay with technical stuff, but his wife is terrified of technical stuff. So we have to use simple stuff. So we're at the moment going to use that for a while and see how that goes. I'm trying to convince them to go the WhatsApp route, but right now we're going to use that. And like I said, it's very simple. It's very simplistic. You can't send gifts. You can't send, at least not that I have found yet. You can't, I think you can take pictures and send them. I haven't, right now we're just using it for talking and sending texts. That's all we really need.
So it sounds a little bit like Meet.
It's a little bit like Meet. You can download it onto your phone. You can open it onto your desktop.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that.
Wow. I guess what the reason I might have tried it. It works. It seems to be on the phone, but Duo, you can only communicate with people who are also in Duo.
So only through Gmail accounts.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't know that, but okay.
Yeah.
Gmail or Workspace, I think it works on Workspace as well. But I think this branding aspect is very important. And let's imagine you receive an email from someone claiming to be from, say, Disney. You expect the email to say a name at Disney something. You don't expect them to say name at gmail.com or yahoo.com or hotmail.com. So the Workspace account gives you the same tools, but your branding, gets branded as your own.
Mm-hmm. And that looks more professional.
Yeah.
For
Paul?
sure.
Yeah, I have a question. In Workspaces, I do work for other companies, and I want to use the email address that they've assigned me in Workspaces. Now, you're shaking your head, you can't do it, right? Yeah, that's what I discovered. You used to, it seemed to me in G Suite, you could send and receive from a different address, but Workspaces, you can't do that, correct?
With a Workspace account, you certainly can. You can, for example, from a Workspace account, you can send an email as if you're responding from a Yahoo account or but why would you want to do that? I don't know, but
Well,
but the problem that you posed us the other day was you were using an email that someone else provided to you, and it's their company's or their organization's email address.
Yeah.
That you cannot use as part of Workspace.
Yeah. Okay. Not a challenge. I've got another way around it, but
because the Workspace account means that you are at least, if you don't own the company, you are at least part of that company. You are maybe a staff member or something like that. You belong to that organization. That's what it means.
Got it. Okay.
Fred? Can't hear you, Fred.
There's also another level called Google One. And I subscribe to that because I really want more disk space. And I have 200 gigabytes for like $3 a month, or even less if you pay for the year. And you can get up to a terabyte now, I think, for $9.99 a month. And there's also a couple other features with Google One. It's certainly much better if you're using a lot of storage and you have family and you really go for that. I tried to get up to Workspace, but it became so complex and so challenging. They were asking all sorts of questions that eventually I said, this is not worth it for me at the moment. It might be in the future. So there is another level, call Google One, and I get chat, like I can get live chat, which you cannot get in Gmail. So there is some advantages to Google One that might help somebody if they're just starting off and they don't
But
need
then
the full.
what you're suggesting is more of a space. Whereas
Yeah.
this is a workspace is a complete package. It
No, I
involves
agree
a
with
lot
you.
more.
I'm just mentioning that there is Google One.
Mm.
It has more space, but it also has some other features and functions over and above just the standard free.
Mm.
For example, I get live chat, which you cannot get in your Gmail. And when I had that problem with my course trying to do something, if you recall, that I was not able to do it because, well, we won't go into that. But I found that out from live chat. They answered my questions, which I couldn't get if I didn't have Google One. So just mentioning it, that there is another level as well.
You bring up an interesting point there, which we didn't mention in the differences. When it comes to support,
yes,
you are using Gmail, you only get support from the community. The community is consists of other Gmail users who are volunteering their time to help you.
Mm-hmm.
So,
aren't you a volunteer, Vivek, though? Aren't you a volunteer? So there's value there because you know what you're doing or you know what you're saying.
Yeah, there is value. But the problem is if your business depends on something critical, you would probably want that help to come from the source, the company, the service providers, which is what happens when you have workspace account. You get direct access to the Google technical support.
Yeah.
You can call them. They even give you the phone number to call them. And in fact, if you pose a problem and they are not able to sort it out straight away, they would give a call to you to make sure that your problem is sorted out. So that level of support you will never get with Gmail. You get it with Workspace.
Mm-hmm. Okay, shall we move on to the next slide, Vivek?
David has a problem, and Sarah raised her hand as well.
Okay, go ahead.
Question: would I get better support for like things like Search Console and Google My Business and analytics if I do everything to or to the workspace?
Here is a funny thing, and it happened to me. So I'm sharing from my own experience. I did happen to reach out to them, and then for one of these problems that you mentioned, I don't remember whether it was probably anyway. And they said that officially this is not covered by the workspace service level agreement, but still you get to talk to a technical guy on the Google team, and he or she would reply to you. And of course, it all depends on how you come across when you ask the question. If you are really annoyed and not very polite and whatever, you won't get a good answer. But if you are, then they would go out of their way to help you. So, yeah.
Right
Hope
on.
that answered your question, David.
Well, it in a way it does. It sounds like you can call and get things taken care of better that way. Because I have trouble trying to communicate with Google when I'm dealing with some of my problems, and haven't quite figured out the secret to getting someone to talk to.
Yeah, but it has to be to do with your workspace account. It can't be to do with the Gmail account.
Correct. I mean, I would have to move everything from my Gmail account over to my workspace account, and that's a lot of work. And support is one reason I would like to do that, and privacy. Does the service agreement cover the privacy with the with those type of programs? Because I'm dealing with clients as opposed to just myself. If it's just me, I don't care if Google looks, but I have clients that I don't know for sure, and I'd rather not have to ask. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
In which case, it makes a lot of sense for you to move to Workspace, because privacy of any content you put out there is covered by the service level agreement. Sarah?
Yeah, I want to go back to the video, which I really appreciated. It explained it very well for me. And thinking about that collaboration, so if I have a client, that's in my case, it would be a client working on a speech. If I have a client working on a speech and wants my involvement in that, which would be a typical client, but the client also wants to include, let's say, their manager or their admin person or whatever to give feedback. You know, I have run into that issue where, you know, we've made changes and then someone makes suggestions based on the first version rather than the second version. Like it can come up regularly, and it's a real problem. So I can see the value of that collaboration, but it's still there's still an issue about hierarchy of who decides what changes are made. Like the person's boss may have more right to make changes over the changes that I might make or the admin person might make. So you know, it's great to get a lot of collaboration, but is there like a hierarchy of that collaboration that would make it worthwhile?
There is no built-in hierarchy that is there, but still any change gets recorded. It's like you make a change, it gets recorded as you made a change, and the boss made a change, it gets recorded under his ID. So and it is always possible to go back to a previous version or any specific version. So all that version control is taken care by the system, by Google Drive.
So it's kind of in real time then. The changes are made in real time. You see who did the change.
Yeah.
You can adjust accordingly. Okay. Okay, thank you.
I found one thing that with clients, mine are different than yours, Sarah, but I have problems with my clients. You know, I give them access to a Google Drive and say, okay, I want you just to upload photos for me, any content that you want me to put on your website, and I get crickets. No one ever, I've had very few clients that are willing to do that. They want to use email and send it to me through email, which photos is really difficult because you're sending me, you know, if they're going to send me 20 photos, most of the time I get 20 emails. So, and I've tried, the only thing I haven't tried is make a video on how to use Google Drive, because it seems like that's the big issue.
Well, and that's one of the reasons we're doing what we're doing right now, is to explain how some of these things work. So if there's an opportunity for you to share what we're doing today, then go ahead and do it, because it'll be on YouTube. Okay, so if we're ready to move on, yes, we like a lot of things, and so let's look at a few of the features of all these tools, and we'll point out some of the things we thought you may not be aware of. So, of course, where it all starts, when you want to create an account, it all starts at mail, and so that's where it does begin. So when you type in I think it's mail.google.com, and it allows you to create an account. So that's where you begin.
And we are talking about a free Gmail account.
Mm-hmm.
If it is a workspace account, the process is slightly different, but yeah.
Yeah. So that is the point at which you need to decide whether which kind of an account you want. Yeah. So the things that we really like about mail are for me anyway, what I really love about the mail is that automatic sorting. So there are 4 different ways that you can tell mail to sort things for you, and it does it extremely well. So that you don't want all the promotional stuff that comes your way mixed in with your personal stuff. And so having those sorting, I don't know what they're called, folders or what are they called, Vivek? Are they folders?
They appear as different tabs when you log into the web interface of your mail account, be it your free Gmail account or the paid workspace account. You see different tabs. Each tab would have personal, social, promotions, and updates.
Mm-hmm.
Updates are for things like, for example, let's say you order stuff from Amazon, and Amazon sends you an update saying the stuff that you ordered has been dispatched. That's an update. So it goes under the updates tab. Similarly, I mean, if Amazon sends you, we thought you'd like to buy this stuff, that goes under promotions.
Yeah.
And then someone comments on a community website or a forum or something, and you are part of that goes under social. So your emails get automatically sorted. That's what we are talking about here.
Yeah. So that's one of the features that I really like about mail. The other one, the next one, search. So many people seem to kind of be reluctant to use that search aspect, rather than, especially if you're coming from Outlook, you're used to storing everything in separate folders, and to just put things in archive is fearful for a lot of people. They don't think they'll ever find that message again. But the search is a really robust, and it allows you to search on a variety of quite an extensive variety of ways, so that you can find things. When
it comes to search, what is Google famous for?
Yeah.
Tell me.
Yeah, what could be better?
Hurting my feet from pulling the products away from them all the time. That's what they're famous for.
And then of course the spam filter is really good one as well. Although I have to say, you do need to go in and check what's in your spam box or your spam folder or whatever you call that periodically, because now and again they do make a mistake. And sometimes you have to say, this is not spam. And if you do that, then it gets put into your inbox, your personal inbox. So labels and filters, that's what we use instead of folders. It allows you to label something, and you can see the list of your labels down the side, so it helps you find things in a hurry. Archiving, of course, is a good way, and I certainly recommend to anybody some of the things that I learned about email a long time ago. When you get an email, when you open it, you read it and you take action if necessary. Maybe that means sending a reply, but if you don't think you're ever going to look at that again, then delete it. But if you think you might need to find it once in a while, then you archive it. So those are the main features there. Now the last one here, I think I'm going to have to explain, and this is something I just discovered. So we were playing around in the contacts feature, and I made note that in your contacts you can assign labels to every one of your contacts. So if I want to, I have a label called Yellowknifers. Those are all the people that I was connected to or emailed to or did whatever when I lived in Yellowknife. So if I wanted to, so I would put a label on that for all of those people that are in Yellowknife. So that label is so if it's called Yellowknife, then if I'm over in Mail and I open the toolbox, or maybe a better one would be the blind CC box. If I typed in Yellowknife, it would import all of the email addresses that were in the contacts list. That I didn't know. So that by using labels in your contacts, it allows you, it's almost like creating a distribution list. So there was a piece I didn't know before. Anybody have any comments or questions that relate to mail?
Alana.
So when I'm looking at mail on my phone and I swipe left to get rid of it, I think it goes into an archive folder. So my question is, where is the archive folder if I want to get rid of all my junk? Because I'm looking at my Gmail account right now. I don't see anything about an archive folder. So I don't know where all that stuff went.
It's not a folder.
Use the search. Use the search feature.
So just search for archive?
No, search for a term or something used in one of the recent ones that you sent to the archive. It will find that particular email in the archive.
Yes, I wouldn't know which one it is because I send a lot of stuff. I just kind of swipe. I have no idea what I put in there. Okay. And then the second question I had was for the workspace and the support that you get, does that include all the different types of documents like Sheets and Google Docs and PowerPoint and all that? It does. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not just around the workspace itself. It includes all the bells and whistles as well.
Yeah. Well, workspace starts off as a mail thing. But if you think that it is it's only mail, then you're losing out on a lot of other things. It's not just mail, it's all these other things.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, so I just remember when I switched from Outlook over to Gmail, it does require that you think about things in a slightly different way, for sure. When you're used to having folders and everything is filed away in folders, it takes it takes a little while before you begin to realize that you can find anything you want, provided you make use of the search in an effective way.
Yeah, for Alana's question, it might be that you need to create more labels and attach those specific labels to an email and remove it from the inbox. In fact, even inbox itself is actually a label. If you go on the email interface, you see that even the inbox is one of the labels there. If you, for example, you search for a particular label, then and all emails of that label will show up, and some of them may be still in your inbox. It will show that as a label. So
yeah,
you can remove it from the inbox, but still have it under a label. And every email can have more than one label, which is not possible with if you put things in a folder.
Right. So my goal always is empty inbox. Okay, so if there are no more comments about mail, shall we move on to the next slide and talk about contacts? Because I did mention contacts just a minute ago.
Mike, could I quickly answer Alana's question?
Yes, go
About
ahead.
the first. So when you archive something, it actually gets dumped into a folder called all mail. And so it's because there's no actual archive folder,
right?
And that's what happens. So and then from there you can search it using the filter. Like you can search all your kind of quote unquote archive emails using the filter feature at the top.
It loses the inbox label and goes into the all emails.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's wonderful. Once you understand how all these pieces work, I mean, it allows you to manage it so efficiently and not have as I know many people have 10,000 emails in their inbox.
Jivita?
Hey, I resemble that remark.
You resemble it, eh?
I go over 21,000 emails, and those are just the ones that I haven't opened. Embarrassed.
Well, don't forget. There's always the trash label. You can select all with in a box at the top and just put it all in. Put them all in trash.
I was wondering why you didn't answer my email 6 months ago.
I probably put a star by it and said I'll get to that later and never got to it.
Right.
Also a good idea to dump your trash occasionally.
Absolutely.
No, whatever is in the trash actually gets cleared every 30 days automatically, whether you want it or not.
I quite often empty my trash.
The G lady goes and clears the.
Yeah, but sometimes if you want to clear up some space, you can empty the trash.
Yeah. Jivita, you have your hand raised.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, you can.
Okay. I wanted to ask you about the schedule feature in email. I don't think it's available now, is it?
Yes, I think it is, isn't it? I use Boomerang, which is an added little feature that I add on to mail, but it seems to me that there is a schedule feature there too, isn't there, Vivek?
It's not actually part of Gmail or even Workspace account, but yeah, with an extension or a plugin,
Vivek, I think it is.
Yeah, you.
At the bottom, when you go
Yes.
to send, there's a
Yes.
arrow at the side. When you click
Yes.
on that, you can schedule it.
Yes.
Because I use it all the time. Every day I'm scheduling stuff to go out at different times.
Mm.
So.
Yeah, so you don't need Boomerang anymore. That was an early tool that we used earlier. Yeah.
But what Boomerang does do is it signifies when it's open, right?
Yes.
Which is useful.
Yeah. Any more? Should we move on to contacts? Okay. So, some of the things that we like, or that I like, I made the list and Vivek added a few things. So, I discovered that the import export, not so much the export because I don't feel the need to export, but I know that when I was changing over from Outlook into Google, I used the import. So what it allows you to do in other contact places like Outlook, you can do an export and then you can do an import. So I was able to import all of my contacts out of Outlook into the Google contacts, and that was a godsend. So then now the other few things that I thought it would make sense for everybody to know, because I've discovered that a lot of people don't know that contacts are there. In that when you are emailing back and forth to people, I think Google saves that email address and it will show up in contacts. But then you can add a title, physical addresses, email addresses, additional email addresses, phone numbers, websites, etc. So you can make it a complete contact. So then I mentioned the fact that you can use labels for group categories. Maybe you've got a list of all your clients, for example. You could make a label called clients and assign certain people to your client list. So that is a really useful thing. Birthdays. If your contact is using Gmail or Google and they happen to put their birthdays in, it'll show up. I think it's up to the individual whether they share their birthday or not. A few other things that as we were in there looking around and speculating, we found two more things called previous interactions. So if you open a Google contact and you want to see all the emails and back and forth with that person, it'll show up at the bottom of the contact. And there's also a category called frequently contacted. So if there's a handful of people that you connect with on a regular basis, it'll show up under that list. The other item that is really useful is the merge and fix. And that really relates to some of the things that pop up, and I think it has more to do with the mobile, is that sometimes you have more than one email address in there for a specific individual, etc. So if there's more than one entry for one person, you can choose that merge and fix and pull it all into one thing and make it more efficient.
This is to do with the mobile phones, actually. If you assign a star to your near and dear ones, their contact details, you can configure your phone so that auto silencing features that you may be aware of. Hopefully you are, but they will be overridden by the near and dear ones. If the near and dear ones want to contact you in an emergency, hopefully, I mean, not hopefully, but you know what I mean. They need to contact you. They will be able to contact you. They will be able to reach you, even though your phone as such is in silent mode. For example, right now, my phone is in silent mode, and if it rings, it means one of my near and dear ones is trying to reach me.
Yeah.
So,
So the starring is a really useful thing for sure. Now, any questions relating to contacts?
Dave has.
Yes. We use Google Contacts quite effectively in our real estate business. The second we get, or when we have a conversation, the first conversation we have with them, we save their contact information, their names, their telephone numbers, any emails that we pick up. And then you'd be amazed at people that call us 6 months later and we say, "Hey, how are you doing, Sarah?" And, they go, "Oh, you remember us?" And yes, I do. Your voice sounds just like thank you. And it works quite effectively. People are very impressed. Even 2 weeks later, when someone calls back and we answer the phone with their name, one thing I learned in sales is name is very important to the person.
Yes, and that's the interesting thing on your mobile, on your cell phone. It pulls in the name from your contact list. So contacts is a very, very important thing to pay attention to. Very aware that many people do not pay much attention though. Any other comments or questions about contacts? Then if not, maybe we can move on to calendar. Now, what do we love about calendar? So this is just a screenshot of one of my views. So some of the things that I just love about calendar, as you can see, is the color coding. That makes it so much easier to sort out at a glance what's going on in your calendar. You can share calendars. That's a really neat feature between families, for example, or work colleagues or whatever. There is a repeat feature. So if you put in one, if you can see on the Monday, the dark long sheet, entry there, that is happens on a weekly basis, and so you can easily put in that it happens on every week on Monday, and it just posts automatically, so you don't have to redo it. I like the fact that you can select the view, and that includes all 4: day, week, month, and year. I find it kind of interesting that the view that you're seeing right on the screen right now, that's the week view, which I find is most useful on my desktop for some reason. But when I'm looking at the calendar on my cell phone, I seem to prefer the month view. I don't know if I can answer the reason why, but that's the way it goes. And Vivek, you said you tried the year view, and it didn't give you too very much, did it?
No, not much. It helps you kind of. It more or less shows you a thing like this. um, the the calendar, what you see on maybe on your wall at home.
Yeah.
These are the days, and these are
Yeah.
Sundays, and
Yeah.
whatever.
So if you wanted to know, if you wanted to figure out what's the date of the second Sunday of June, you could use the year calendar and find it quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vivek, I thought you were going to say these are the days of our lives.
Well, they are.
Which is a soap opera here in I guess in the United States, but yeah.
Right. So also another item that is really valuable in calendars that you can have multiple calendars for different purposes. And so some of you may be aware that you can have well, for example, looking at the Monday on this screen, that represents a specific calendar that I'm using. And you can have several different calendars, and you can choose to incorporate them on your desktop or in your view or not. So it gives you a fair amount of control. I know some people used to subscribe to some sort of a calendar that told you when all the football games were. So if you wanted to see when all the football games were, you could choose that calendar. For example. Now, one of the best features of all, from my perspective, is if I'm setting up a meeting with somebody and I put it into a calendar, I can invite others, and they get an invitation that allows them to say yes, no, or maybe, that they're able to come. And it is so useful. Instead of sending email messages back and forth to find out who's available for whatever, you could create a calendar event, invite all these people. They would get an email message that allows them to say yes, no, or maybe. I don't know if it allows them to suggest an alternate date. Do you know that?
Vivek? It does. If there is an option when you create an event, you can allow them to edit the calendar event. Mm-hmm. In which case they will be able to even change the date.
Right.
Or move it about, or that is particularly useful when you have to have meeting with 2 or 3 people, even with just one person. Yeah. And that person may be very busy and often wants to reschedule things. If that happens, then probably it's a good idea to add them to the calendar, invite them, and send that invitation to them, so that they know when it is happening, and if they want to change it, they can get back to you, and rather than sending it by emails, you can do the communication right on the calendar itself.
Correct. The other thing that's really neat about calendars, you can plan a Google Meet or a Zoom right from your calendar and invite various people all in one place. How cool is that? So there's another piece that we thought we should mention, and Vivek sort of pointed to that a little bit. So in events, if you have, for example, I'll give another example, that Monday event, I'm busy at Chinatown Care. That is where I go and I'm busy. When somebody is trying to phone me, I have it set up so that whenever whenever I'm in a meeting, my phone will not ring, and it's not appropriate for me to take personal phone calls when I'm working somewhere else, so that I have it set up that way. So that is a really useful thing, but I discovered also that there are times when you kind of need to remember that you set things up that way. So so that is a really useful thing. If you're busy in a meeting with somebody, let's say even if you're in a Zoom call, if it's in your calendar as a Zoom call, then you're not going to receive an email or a telephone call during the period of that meeting. So that's really useful. Now we have one more thing that most of you probably don't know too much about, and this came up when I was trying to set things up for this contract that I have at Chinatown Care Center. So I was wanting to make sure that I kept track of when I arrived and when I left and what I was doing while I was there, because that information has to be included into an invoice. So what does Vivek do but create a tool that he calls Beaver? So Vivek, do you want to talk a little bit more about Beaver?
Yeah, Beaver is a tool that actually searches calendar events of a certain type and gives you a Google Sheet with the hours and details of the events. So this can be very easily extended to automatically create invoices. If your billable hours are created as events in your calendar. So what you see on the screen, that VCC contract is a contract. So that's what LowellAnn can do.
Instead of, what was I doing before? I had a Google Doc, keeping track of what I did. I had my times listed off in Keep. So what we've been able, and then I have an invoice that's in Google Invoice. So now it's all one function. How great is that? And okay, wondering if there are any questions from anybody about calendar. Paul.
So one of the neat little hacks that I love about calendar, if we look at the display that you've got up now, if I want to go somewhere that's not on the display, if I'm in calendar and I just type the letter G, up pops a box and it lets me type in like July or August or July 2022, and it takes you there immediately. I use that an awful lot, and it's so simple to use.
Oh, you mean tracking where I was 2 years ago?
No, no, not at all.
But tracking where you were.
No. If you have the calendar display you have up now,
right?
Let's say you want to schedule something that's not in April, but in June of this year.
Oh, I see. Going forward.
If you type the letter G, a little box pops up and you can type in June, and it immediately your calendar goes to June.
Okay.
If you wanted it June 2020, just June 2020, or somebody says, I want to meet you on the 15th of September, you just type in the letter G, and in the box you put 15 September, and it goes there immediately.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just super quick.
Yeah.
I think Paul is still in last year. He's saying 2020 instead of 21.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking that if you were trying to, there are times when you might need to know when you were somewhere or what you were doing at a specific time, and you can easily find that as well. Maybe not 2 years ago, but any other comments or questions about calendar? Well, I guess not. So, I mean, we've covered the usual things, you know, the mail, the contacts, the calendar. But now we want to move on to some of the drive items, and we thought we should sort of have a little chit chat about that. My goodness, is it quarter after 10?
Yeah.
Have we does anybody need to leave? David?
Everybody have a great week. Sorry, I gotta go.
Yeah. Just, see you, David. Feel free to vacate if you need to. We'll just keep going so that we can finish the content here. So we wanted to say a little something about Drive, what it is. It's the main platform where all your storage and your synchronization happens. And some of the things that we really like about it is that you can store files of any type. There is a quick access. So if you open Drive, right across the top, it'll give you the maybe 4 or 5 last things that you had open in Drive. So that's really good. There are a few, I guess they're down the left-hand side, items in the menu down the left-hand side, shared with me. So anything that others have shared with you, you can find, or and you can also see recently accessed. Those are 2 things that you can see. We did talk about simultaneous editing. I guess that came up in the little video. So that can happen in docs and sheets and slides and forms. Again, because of Google's wonderful search capability, you can find, like if you've got a document of some sort in there, and you can do a search by types and or words. Also, there's a little button down in the lower right-hand corner called Explore, and that allows you to search the internet right from within whatever it is that you're doing. And each one of those items has an app script attached to it where you can do various other things. So, is there anybody left? Are there any questions about Drive? No? Okay, so let's move on. So we'll talk about docs. There's not a whole lot to say about docs. We talked a little bit before about the difference between public templates, or you can make your own, and making your own is in Workspace. There are ways to publish things in various languages. There's a piece that I didn't know about. Is that available, Vivek, in both Gmail and Workspace?
It is.
Yeah. And lots of variety in terms of fonts that are available when you're working in docs. The other thing that I think is really useful is Once you've created a doc, you can automatically save it as a PDF, an EPUB, or an HTML. And that is really useful for other things that you're doing. Another item that we particularly like is the voice typing that you can use if you're on your phone. And you can embed items from other tools. And Vivek, when we said embed, does that mean copy paste, or would you actually use an embed code for that?
When it comes to embedding things, let's say you embed a Google Sheet within a Google Doc. This, of course, has been available with the Microsoft products for a long time. You can embed an Excel spreadsheet within a Microsoft Word document, and if somebody goes and modifies the Excel spreadsheet, the Word document will automatically reflect the new one. Same thing is available with the Google products. That's what it means, actually.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, do we have any questions or comments about docs? If not, we will move on to the next, called Sheets. And what I really like about Sheets, well, aside from the usual features of Sheets, making lists, sorting. That's one of the things that I've always liked about spreadsheets, is the sorting capability. A lot of people think of spreadsheets as only putting in formulas, etc., but the sorting feature in Sheets makes it really useful for a lot of things. So, aside from all of those kind of usual things that we all like about Sheets, Sheets have a script feature that allows you to link up with other Google tools. And what you're seeing here is an example that Vivek created for me. It's called Chipmunk. And what it does is it lists all of the success circles. It maintains the members lists. It posts to the items to the members' calendars, and sends them an email. And it also updates a form on my website. So, I mean, there's a lot of different functions that you can see here that Chipmunk does, and it saves me a whole lot of work. Creating a tool like this does take some HTML and coding knowledge. However, I don't have much of either one, but I seem to be able to, and you can see that Vivek has created some buttons down the side that allow me to just push a button and do the things that I need to do. So I thought some of you might enjoy seeing the visual. So let's move on to slides. So what you're seeing here is two things. On the left-hand side, you're seeing a presentation, and that's the first slide in a presentation. But on the right-hand side, you can see that this is the presentation notes, and I'm actually using that right now. So it gives you a picture of the slide as well as the notes that you've put down below the slide. So the presentation notes can act as a script that can keep you on topic and maintain language precision. And Vivek and I have used this as a way of keeping ourselves straight when we're doing a demonstration video. And what we do is we color code the notes so we know who's going to say what. We add technical instructions like next screen or in a contrasting color, and away we go. It's really useful to keep you focused when you're doing a recording of some sort. Another really neat thing about slides is you can create your own template. I guess that would be mostly in Workspace. So any comments or questions from anybody in that regard? If not, shall we move on?
Yeah.
We're almost there. We're talking about forms now. And what you're seeing here are two different ways that we have made use of forms. So the item on the left-hand side, first of all, I should say that forms are really useful for creating surveys or tests and or contact us pages. So the item on the left-hand side is a view of a survey that I created for one of my contract work. And what you get as a result, once people fill in the forms and answer the questions or whatever, you get a nice a summary page, as you can see there with the pie chart, etc. So and you can save it as a PDF, and it makes it a really useful tool. On the right hand side, you can see that Vivek and I created a contact us page on the website for courses website, and we've actually created a little mini course on how to do that. Yeah. And using some special coding that Vivek has created called Megadoot. So forms can be extremely useful as well. So any questions about forms? Okay, so we are in the last slide. So many people don't realize the value of Keep. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, what the various ways that I can make use of Keep. So what I really like about it is that it's shareable. So on the screen that you're seeing, the one on the very left-hand side, I think it's called Great Walks. My walking partner and I keep adding to that list, and I can post it, and she sees it on her Keep as well. So it's shareable within the Keep environment. It's searchable like everything else that Google does. It's really great for lists, and as you can see on some of the others, they're checklists. You can tick things off. I use it for my grocery list, for example. And you can also add labels and colors to make things stand out. And another really great feature is that if you're using Keep on your phone, you can voice type into that.
Another thing I particularly use is the grocery list. If you have certain things which you buy every month, let's say, even if you tick them off here, you can untick them and then they'll appear on top again, so that as you go through the grocery store, you put it in your trolley and tick it off. Next item, tick it off. You reach the end of the list. You've done your shopping. Next month you go and untick all of them, and they're all back in the list. It's easy to keep track of things like that.
And I've heard lots of people, in terms of the grocery list, I've heard lots of families say husband and wife both use the Keep, so that who's ever at the grocery store sees what's needed in the kitchen and can tick things off, and both parties know about it. So it's really useful from that perspective. So. So that is the end of the tools that we thought we would share. Hope that it was useful, and encourage everyone to give it a try. And certainly, if you find anything that you're not sure how to do, Vivek and I would be quite happy to lend a hand.
So one other feature on Google Keep that I find useful is things that I don't need immediately, but that I want to get. I can also geotag it, so I get a notification if I'm at London Drugs. Oh yeah, I wanted to pick this up next time I was at London Drugs. That's a useful thing on Keep as well, I find.
Oh, absolutely. And I think I forgot to mention also Keep. You can put it in. You can put a time, a reminder in, so that if there's something that you need to remember to do, you can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things that we didn't mention in any of those tools, but when you look, if you open your mail, you can see the little links down the side to all those other tools. So they all sort of integrate if you want them to. So is your meeting coming up, Fred? Do you want to say the last word?
Yeah, my meeting, I did delay it, but it's still even past the time that I delayed it to. So what I'd like to say, though, I think you've given us a wonderful exposure to what the platform, because it is a platform that Google offers, and it can be relatively simple, but it can be also extremely useful and complex when you get someone like Vivek who can do the scripting or the programming, if you want to call it, and can create tools like he has with Chipmunk, etc. And the fact that you're got a course called, of course, which is based on using all these tools and integrating them, and that just shows you the power of this platform. There's so many tools that it can be overwhelming for anyone. I would suggest that all they have to do is start exploring. I mean, I've used it in many cases. Google Slides, I just find phenomenal. You've given some examples of that. Sharing documents, I've done manuals for people, collaborating with them in Nepal. They're in Nepal and I'm here, and we work on the same document. And these are not small documents. I mean, there's sometimes, up to 100 pages of documents that we share. And it's just a phenomenal platform that people should not ignore and be aware of. So what you've done today is given us a list of how you use it. I mean, and everybody has their own needs, but this platform can almost address any need you have. And there is help for everyone. So it's a great exposure. And I'm going to have to go because I am even late for the postponed.
Well, thank you for staying, Fred.
Thank you very much. It's been a great exposure.
Yeah, well, thank you for the last word. So, having said that, I'm going to remind everyone it's important to do what you love with passion. And I think we're going to talk about Amazon polling next week, but I'm not certain about that. That has to be confirmed. So, having said that, I bid you adieu, and I shall put in